mean, yeah. Trace, you ready? Okay. Call the meeting to order at 7:30. Everyone stand for the pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Excuse me. Item number 3. Is there any public comment?
Mike Kearney, 72 Mountain Road. On the handout for the town of Seymour, they have me listed as the Veteran Service representative. My understanding is I cannot be the Veteran Seymour representative for Seymour because I'm not an employee of the town. I was told I had to be a town employee. I mean, we're glad to help any veterans that need help through our service officer, but I was told through your office at the time when Roy was still here, they appointed me as the Veteran Service representative. Then they came back and told me I can't do it because I'm not a town employee. So if they could check that and it changes, just let me know.
We'll look into that. Thank
Okay,
you.
Alex Danker, 203 Pearl Street.
No one heard you because you were next to the mic.
Alex Danker, 203 Pearl Street.
Yes?
Board of Selectmen, Madam First Selectman, and honored guest in our room. It's my great honor to announce our Grand Marshal this year for this year's Christmas parade. Words can't fully express the impact these two individuals had on our town through their love, dedication, and countless contributions they have given and a lasting mark on our community. Please join me in congratulating Fred Stanek and in loving memory his wife Karen Stanek. Karen holds a very special heart in my place. I will miss her deeply. We shared a wonderful connection, especially during our planning meetings and for town events. Times that were not so productive, but always filled with laughter and joy. Fred and Karen have given so much to our town. It's only fitting that we honor them in this way. Congratulations, Fred. You both have given us so much to our town. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Alex. Thank
Thank
you
you.
to the parade committee, events committee. I appreciate it. I know Karen's looking down, laughing with you.
Very high five, and I'm up there one day.
Thank you.
If you get a pen.
I'm honored. Thank you.
Did anyone catch that he said heart in my place
Yes.
instead of place in my heart?
He was nervous. Stop it.
That's not right.
Stop it.
Sorry.
Is there any other public comment? That's just wrong. Is there any other public comment? No other public comment? Okay. Approval of the minutes from the October 8th.
Can I make a motion to
Yes.
add something to the agenda?
Sure.
I
Sure.
wasn't here
Okay.
last week. I'd like to add to the agenda a plan to discuss the tax incentive plan, because I guess it was at the last meeting. You guys talked about the tax incentive plan, and I'd like to have a discussion about that.
Okay. Okay, motion by Bob,
Second.
second by Al. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Chair votes aye, motion carries.
If I may,
7-0.
Madam
Yeah.
First Selectwoman, I'd like to add an item to the agenda also.
Okay. Okay,
I move that we add to the agenda discussion and possible action regarding a resolution congratulating the inductees to the Seymour High School Sports Hall of Fame, which is going to be conferred, the inductees will be conferred this coming Sunday.
okay. Motion by Fred, second by Al. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Chair votes aye, motion carries 7-0. Before I move any further, is there any more?
I might as well get one in.
This is unprecedented.
Yeah.
It is.
that
This
right?
was a short agenda.
Didn't want my chicken fajitas tonight, but okay.
In following up from our last meeting with regard to the tree cutting stuff, I'd like to make a motion to add discussion and follow-up to use of the LoSiP funds for the tree removal.
Second.
Motion by Scott, second by Al. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Chair votes aye, motion carries 7-0. Okay. Let's first get the proclamation for White Cane Safety Day. Oh, wait, sorry. Approval of the minutes from the October 8th, 2025 special meeting. Sorry, guys. Can I have an approval?
I make a motion they be approved.
Motion by Scott,
Second.
second by Al. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Chair votes.
Abstain.
I was gonna say abstains. Abstains? Trish and Rob? So 5-0-2. Please note Trish's and Rob's abstentions. Thank you. Okay. Proclamation for White Cane Safety Day. We have the Lions with us. Can you guys come up? I don't have my lion pin. You cannot gig me. I don't have my pin. You cannot gig me. Town of Seymour Proclamation White Cane Safety Day. Whereas the white cane in our society has become a symbol of independence, mobility, and the ability of people who are blind or visually impaired to achieve a full and independent life. And whereas the white cane also serves as a reminder to all citizens of the special considerations necessary to ensure the safety and well-being of those who use it. And whereas Connecticut law and all laws of all 50 states require that drivers exercise special care when they encounter a pedestrian using a white cane or guide dog. And whereas public awareness of White Cane Safety Day contributes to safer streets, greater respect, and stronger inclusion for individuals who are blind or visually impaired. And whereas the Seymour Lions Club plays an active and vital role in supporting the blind and visually impaired through advocacy, service, and education within our community. Whereas the town of Seymour is committed to fostering a community of equal opportunity, accessibility, and independence for all its residents. Now therefore I, Anne Marie Dragonis, first selectwoman for the town of Seymour of Connecticut, do hereby proclaim October 15, 2025 as White Cane Safety Day in the town of Seymour, and I encourage all citizens to recognize and support the independence and safety of our blind and visually impaired neighbors.
So Lion Barbara Fredericks actually took the time to create little white cane pins for you all to have and members of the audience. And we have a poem that we can also give out. And is it okay to say?
You can read it, I can't. I'm not with my eyes.
You can read it, please do.
I'll read the poem. I
Please
have
do.
it right here.
Thank you.
So,
Thank you.
my white cane. This
Thank
is
you.
my cane, and it's my trusted friend. From the strap on the top to the tip on the end. I take it with me when I start my day. I use it to find things that are in my way. Tap. I found a pole, and I go around, moving my cane smoothly to scan the ground. Whoops, what's that? I stop in my tracks. Oh, I just found some really big cracks. I can step carefully. I don't want to fall. With my cane in hand, I'm walking tall. Hey, did I just find something new? The cane tip went down. I think that's a clip. Oh, there's a curve, but no big deal. I know it's there. I know it by feel. So it's a happy White Cane Day, and we'll have many more. My white cane and I are off to explore.
Very nice.
What a wonderful initiative you folks have
Can you
fostered.
tell us, sorry Frank, can you tell us a little bit about the Lions and what they do here in Seymour?
Who was it? Go ahead. Franklin?
Well, first of all, we're deeply appreciative of First Selectwoman Dragonis and all of you Board of Select persons to issue this proclamation. And as you may know, Lions clubs are advocates for the blind. And we do, us, Seymour Lions, benefit the community in really tangible ways. You might see us sometimes at the Seymour Stop and Shop collecting donations from everybody. Every year we do it for our Sight Savers Day. The money we raise actually goes to the Connecticut Lions Eye Research Foundation, which is a Connecticut-based foundation that actually supplies grant money to schools of optometry like in Yale and other places to actually research into eye disease. And actually, the grants that Lions clubs have donated to CLIRF and that CLIRF has given out has actually been instrumental in finding a cure to glaucoma. So that's a really tangible way. Just us at Seymour Stop and Shop collecting money can actually go toward curing diseases. And also, we do eye screenings in the public school system and throughout the community. And we collect, as you'll see outside Town Hall, a used eye glasses collection bin that we work with repurpose and refurbish them to actually make them usable and to give them into people in need. So, First Selectwoman Dragonis and Deputy First Selectman Bruno, I see that you have glasses, and Selectman Finley. Wow, a lot of glasses here. That's great. So,
Dependent on
so
it.
any of the old ones,
It's on our glasses.
yeah, any of the old ones into the public.
Rogue or
members of
not,
the
babe.
audience. Town Hall, you have a bin, you can drop it there, and it's really important that you issued this proclamation for White Cane Safety Day. As you mentioned, the white cane acts as a symbol for blind and visually impaired individuals' independence in society. It shows to everybody that they are visually impaired, and also it gives them a tool to be able to navigate their surroundings. So it's a way to tell motorists, as you mentioned, that they should take extra precaution when they see them on the roadway, and that's why we made these pins for you all, and we thought that issuing this proclamation was important. And I just wanted to note, in October 15th, 1964, President Lyndon B. Johnson issued the first proclamation for White Cane Safety Day for October 15th, 1964. Happy to say 61 years later, town of Seymour did it. So thank you so much for doing it. Oh, can you,
Did you want?
join the photo? Thank you.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you.
Of course.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Okay, that's that. Okay. You're welcome. Thank you. Have a good night.
I know.
Item number 6, report from the fire marshal. As you, September, we didn't have a meeting, we didn't have a department come in, but you did receive your quarterly reports. November, we'll hear from our finance department, as we're gonna start our budgets, and December, we will hear from our building director.
Good evening, guys. So thank you for having me. I know everyone here knows me, but my apologies. I am going to actually read through some notes tonight when I talk. I always try to make eye contact and do that, but we also know that I can be very, very long-winded, so I'm going to try to stay on track and hit the points that I'd like to. So please feel free to stop me at any point, but I will go through and kind of talk about some things. So thank you for having me. I know we had originally planned this quite some time ago, I was told, and I'll be very, very honest. It kind of went the wayside on my end, and I kind of forgot, and when I was asked last week, I had to crunch some numbers and do some different things. So I am going to kind of look down a lot, but please, again, just flag me down. So first and foremost, I'll speak a little bit what the fire marshal does. I know you've all been around for a while, and you understand that, but not everyone understands the ins and outs of it. You guys are very, very fortunate on the board to have someone with some firsthand knowledge in the past. So you may be able to ask some different things, but certainly have some insights that everyone else may not. So our primary job is in the inspection of existing and new buildings to ensure compliance with the Connecticut State Fire Safety Code and the Connecticut Fire Prevention Code. Now, these two codes actually encompass hundreds and hundreds of standards, thousands and thousands of pages, but the broad that becomes law through regulation is those fire codes in general. Connecticut general statutes delegate the power to myself and our office on what needs to be inspected, what's required to be inspected, and then it gives us a framework under an additional general statute on how, the frequency of these inspections and what to do. So the long and the short of it, and you've probably heard me say this before, is the very generic answer. Other than 1 and 2 family homes, we're required to inspect them to ensure safety. Currently, our workload in Seymour for just inspections, and I will get into other things that we do, is upwards of 200 multifamily dwellings. But that number is kind of a misnomer because that 200 includes like one for Balance Walk. We know there's 23 structures on that property, which can each take a day or multiple days themselves. Colonial Manor, there's numerous properties like that in town. There's over 300 businesses in town that require annual inspections. And our goal is 100% compliance. But realistically, we are achieving about 70% right now of the multifamilies, which multifamilies are our highest priority. If you go into any community, that is always going to be the number one drive. Is multifamilies, people sleep there, people are there the most time. It's where the most catastrophic fires occur. So that really is our goal. Other responsibilities that we have is the regulation and inspections of hazardous materials, all fire investigations for all fire events that occur in town. Regulations, fireworks, explosives, and blasting operations, the issuance of blasting permits, and the regulation and follow-up of blasting, fire prevention within the schools. That includes, as well as not just in the schools, we do fire extinguisher training within private industry. We do the nursing homes in town, the senior facilities in town. We provide fire extinguisher training, other things of the like, but that's always a quick eye catcher of one of the things that we do. We also coordinate smoke alarm giveaways and installation in 1 and 2 family homes. We have many partnerships that we work with on a daily basis. The town of Seymour, we're fortunate to have a detective that's assigned to our office who's cross-trained. We work with that detective regularly. We work with the Assistant State's Attorney's Office of Housing on a weekly basis. We are very fortunate to have a very proactive, great Assistant State's Attorney. I'll name drop here. Ray Savoy is a great resource that we meet with regularly and deal with. We work with our partners over at the Naugatuck Valley Health District day in and day out on housing complaints and items of that nature. And then we serve as the eyes and ears for the rest of our public safety team. The police department, the fire department, the EMS, getting in and seeing things before there's an emergency so that we're not going into a place the first time there's a problem. Performance and statistics, I want to talk a little bit about the data that I compiled, and I am going to break out into that a little. I went through from 2021 to 2025 to compile statistics. 2020, I'm going to be honest with you, the numbers are all over the place. At order of the state, we kind of stopped going out for a while during to the world we were living in at that point. So the numbers aren't really fair at that point. Existing, I can tell you, and I'm going to go into a little greater detail in just a bit. We'll talk numbers, I'm sorry. But fires we can see are decreasing in this town. I'd like to chalk that up to the office staff and the great job we're doing, but I think it's within that range of error where we just happen to have a slow year, and let's keep it that way. And before I go into the actual statistics, I just want to talk just very quickly about our office staff. Currently we have 3 full-time people performing fire inspections, as well as those are 35 hours a week, as well as a part-time administrative assistant, which is a shared service with Seymour Fire Department. That's 19 hours a week. Diana, she's fantastic. She's really the boss, and she's the one that runs the show.
Tim, those 3 people, one is you, correct?
Correct.
That's including you.
And I'll get into that in just a bit. One of the big challenges we're facing right now, and I'm going to speak in generalities, but I was given permission, and I would never do this out of turn. Currently, our deputy fire marshal is undergoing some pretty serious health issues. Over the past 6 months, he was out for 3 full months, as well as the 3 months that he's been back. He's been very limited while ongoing treatment. His treatments will continue for at least the foreseeable future, up until May is what's tentatively planned, with monitoring of his conditions and how he's improving. So I don't want to get further into specifics. However, he actually told me I could say whatever I want, but that's not fair to him. So just our expectations is we expect increasing numbers and productivity, and looking ahead, continue improving expected coverage, overall code compliance, prepare for several large development projects in town, because as we all know, we want growth, but growth comes at a cost to our hours and manpower and things that are needed. I appreciate the board's listening to me drone on for just a minute, and I promise I'm halfway through. I am going to have a handout for you. No disrespect, but I am very big on I'd rather talk first and then hand it to you so I don't lose anyone's attention. But I'm going to jump over to that one. So I'm doing an overall summary. This is from 2021 to 2025, averaging each year out. And then just so you know, 2025, it's projected numbers because we're only 3/4 of the year through. So again, these aren't based in 100% accuracy. However, they're pretty close. So inspection and administrative activities continue to grow and trend upward in several key areas. Growth in new property inspections, plan review, and meetings reflect the town's increased development and construction activity. Few categories show decreases, tied to adjusted priorities, but overall performance remains strong. Initial new inspections, these are properties being built in town, and I'll speak specifically, I can use our friends over at Newport Academy. We have seen a 308% increase in new inspections. I can tell you personally, between March and present day, I had over 100 inspections myself at Newport Academy, just that one facility. If you know where our office is in relation to there, just the travel time alone, day in and day out, certainly adds up. In initial existing inspections, we are up 123%. It's a strong improvement. I want to get to that 75%. We are required to have 100%. That's not happening anywhere in the state. Couldn't tell you a single marshal's office that's even remotely close. I know at 75%, we are well above the average. Re-inspections, we've seen an increase 137%. This reflects the follow-up work and stronger enforcement efforts. Blasting activities, I am currently up 190% over the average of the last 4 years, primarily due to regulation and oversight of the Haynes Quarry site in town and their production increases.
Over those 4 years, before you go on, over those 4 years, it's the same staff, 3 people.
No, it was a staff of 2.
So it was less.
Yes, yes. Thank you, I apologize,
no,
I
it's
should
okay.
have
Sure.
jumped into that already. Plan reviews have gone up 151%. That's a clear indicator of building in this town and production in this town. Complaints have gone up 158%, likely due to greater public awareness of property owners and people in town. Meetings are up 150%, but I'd like to think that's a good thing because it shows coordination amongst all the town departments, including ours. Other activities are up 220%. This can be miscellaneous administrative things. Special projects could be increasing the workload. So just comments on that. Oil tank inquiries and research were up 107% over the average from the past year. I'm sorry, we're up 7% to 107%. Follow-ups, we're averaging about 96% of where we were in the past, so slightly down, but that's within a rate of error. Decreases or investigation, we're down 23%. I'd like to think that that's because I'm doing such a great job, but realistically, again, it could just be a statistic anomaly this year. Training, we're down 53%, but part of that is with the deputy being out of work and our recertification cycles. I'm going to be very honest, once my cycle comes up for certification every 3 years, once I hit my requirements, I pull back and take more interesting classes rather than just whatever's available. Reports, we're doing 56% fewer reports, which seems a little weird, but is actually a great thing. Moving to new technologies and softwares, we're not having to generate nearly as many reports. On scene, we're finishing with an iPad, and by the time I leave, they already have their report. Fire prevention programs are currently down. When I say programs, I'm saying the amount of showings are down 27%. A lot of that comes directly due to our secretary being able to plan appropriately timeframes. So what previously may have been listed as 2 or 3 engagements, we're now able to achieve in one straight day. So the numbers are probably the same as far as people we're speaking to. However, the back and forth, driving and wear and tear and all that is decreased. And fire lane enforcement is down 31%. Really no explanation why, but we always try to motivate people appropriately before we have to take enforcement action. Finally, the key takeaways that I have listed are total workload is increasing, particularly with development-related activities. Preventative measures appear to be effective as fire incidents and investigations are remaining low. Resource limitations, namely, unfortunately, right now with the deputy having some issues where he hasn't been in every day, we've definitely seen a decrease. I'd like to bump these numbers up. And despite challenges, the office has achieved exceptional growth in inspection, permitting, and interdepartment collaboration, and we're looking to move forward. So I have this for you so you can digest it over time. If I can approach and pass out. Go from there. So I will certainly open up to any questions. I know I talk fast, I know I ramble, but
The math doesn't add up. You're doing too much.
Thank you. Tim, if I may, while the I've heard the same thing. I was fortunate enough years ago to go on a ride with the former fire marshal and kind of get an idea of what you do on a daily basis and what the inspections look like. Ideally, if you were to meet 100%, what does that mean as far as equipment and staff?
Equipment really comes down to the level of staffing. I have to provide a way for them to get from A to B, namely a vehicle some way. Training is not cheap, just as we felt the burden of increased costs. All the training we go to has dramatically increased. Codes and standards. Unfortunately, we use model codes in the state of Connecticut, which are based off of national standards. Those national publications are not cheap, so it's an increase in that. And then uniforms, things of that nature, so we do look professional. We can't go willy-nilly. Staff increases, realistically, in a perfect world, I know this may seem insane, but realistically, I would be looking probably 5 full-timers to really get where we need to be. I'm being realistic.
I was running the numbers in my head.
I
It doesn't
spoke with
make
other
sense.
communities nearby just recently. I don't want to throw them under the bus, but I don't know of a fire marshal's office that's even remotely appropriately staffed in this state. Nearby communities in the community, in relation to Seymour, I spoke with them the last 2 weeks, have told me they would like to see 5, 6, 7 full-timers in their office. I understand that those things aren't realistic. I just will say, in the interest of public safety, I'm always going to ask for more. I'm never going to say I want less. But
That's why I'm asking.
we are an insurance. We are an insurance policy of against liability for municipalities. I'm going to speak as a very broad stroke across the state, no matter what community it is, whether it's a career fire department or a volunteer fire department, which obviously saves us millions and millions of dollars a year. We always need more. I think realistically, if we had a full-time staff of about 5, we probably could do it, but that's also dependent on other things. We have some great developments that we all know are right on the horizon, hopefully, and fingers crossed, but I can assure you, speaking with other local marshals who've dealt with large developments with those companies, it really becomes a 40-hour a week just for one person at those sites. So it's really dependent on growth of the community. I am always going to ask for more. I know that everyone will cringe and look at me, and I understand, because I pay taxes in this town, I reside in this town, and I get it. But we are an insurance policy, and part of that growth is to make sure that we have safe buildings, that we have safe schools, safe businesses, that we can all go to, use, and
Have regulations increased some of these percentages that have occurred in that time period, I'm assuming?
Absolutely.
Okay, so
they-
the
they
percentage of them was just regulations that got...
They have.
Mandates,
The state has done a great job with trying to change some of the frequencies under, you can look up the general statute, I believe it's 29305 is the frequency of our inspections. However, what they failed to realize is if you have a sequence of 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, 4 year, the common denominator eventually hits every 6, 8, and 12 years, where you're looking at hundreds and hundreds of inspections.
Right.
Before I took this job full-time in 2009, I thought, okay, we have 200 properties we have to inspect. There's more than 200 work days in a year. That's easy. Not realizing, and I'm sure Selectman Andrews can speak to this, that very often a single property will take dozens and dozens. I mean, Newport Academy, I can speak very highly of the crew that I worked with them and their construction company. However, I was there daily for weeks and weeks and months. On paper, it looks great to be able to say, oh, do an inspection, do a re-inspection. But just represented in this room tonight, walking in and out previous meetings, I've seen numerous contractors, property owners, business owners that I have to deal with on a regular basis. And I do feel, and again, I promise I'll get off my soapbox in a second, but I do feel that a good relationship with them is positive. It moves things forward, and we can always do a little better with honey than vinegar, but we are on the enforcement side too, and it is my job to do my job, to put it very, very simply.
So while I appreciate it's like an insurance policy for the
No, I
town,
understand.
I also think that it's about saving lives. It's being
Absolutely.
proactive and saving lives, and that's very important to me. So what do you do to make sure so you're saying you're at about 75%. So obviously every year, well, I'm going to say obviously, but my question is the 25% you're missing in 1 year is getting done the following year while another 25
Correct.
you've met with is dropping off.
So up until this year, we had always previously simply just looked at the list and gone to the farthest back. It's not unusual to find a property that's been years. It happens. Things slip through the cracks. Also, being that we are in an old mill town, and I don't need to speak to anyone on this, we all know the history of this great town, but coming from an old mill town, we have a lot of these beautiful 3-story wood frame houses that were single-family homes at the turn of the century that have been converted to multifamily dwellings. There are still these properties in town that we don't know exactly how many are there. We'd love to say we do. I've been working full-time for 17 years, and I still stumble across a property that I've never inspected that had no clue. It's our job to do our best to find them and then make them safe. With that comes the education application of I now have to go to Miss Danka and say, I know your family has owned this house for 150 years and it's never once been inspected, but we didn't know, and now we need to make it right, which can even be more cumbersome than simply just going to the same apartment building every year. So with that comes time. Again, these people are not doing it maliciously or unintentionally, it's just a lack of knowledge. So really, number one is fire marshals need to be good communicators and good educators.
Tim, do you still have volunteer firemen doing inspections?
So, in my time, we have never had one doing inspections since 2008. Selectman Andrews may be able to speak to that. We do have people who are certified in the office. They have full-time jobs elsewhere, and there's never been a good motivator. I think I was the last one to receive a stipend back in 2007. I'm not sure, and I hate to pawn this off on you, but just I don't know the historical data on that. There are 5 people who are certified within the office. They work elsewhere, and sadly, I mean, in this day and age, there's a lot of liability going into a property and doing an inspection, and without some type of typically monetary motivation, it's very hard to get someone willing to do that. I would be more than open if we can put out a call for every volunteer marshal in the world to come and work here, for free. But currently there's 5 on the books. So one of them is a career firefighter in Bridgeport, one of them is a career firefighter in Waterbury, another one is a dispatcher, another one is a college kid who he will help us out at fire scenes, but unfortunately he can't, tie up that time to do that, and then another one is a retired police officer.
Would it be feasible to, instead of having a full-time person, have a per diem inspector?
So it is possible. I wouldn't want to take away from the current staff that we have, but for example, the city of Derby has a part-timer of 20 hours a week that makes approximately $33 an hour. Oxford supplements with numerous part-timers. They have over 60 hours a week of part-timers. Shelton only has 2 full-time staff members, but then they have an additional 86 hours a week of paid per diem. So, really, that's an extra 2 full-timers on top of that. So, and when I spoke with them just recently, I was jokingly admonished and said, oh no, we'd like to have 10 at least. So, in Shelton, we see the growth. It's just, it is feasible, but to cut back on where we are wouldn't be beneficial to the town and that insurance policy.
Can I just comment on that question? Is if it's a true per diem person and they're going out and doing an inspection one day, and now you don't see them in the office for another week or more, there's no follow-up on what they've inspected. And the follow-up is the absolute most important part of this. You get your first inspection, you abate the property owner for whatever they're doing or not doing, and then you need to follow up. And when I was in the office, that was one of the things that I was doing more of than anything else. I would have to go back to a property 2, 3, 4 times because back then we weren't using the legal resources to get things done. We were just trying to be the nice guys and work with people ad nauseum, and we weren't able to get a lot of this stuff done. Now it's really great that they're able to use the legal means to get some of this stuff done with those property owners that are not willing to comply.
And even that, I can tell you, it's not something I'm proud of, but unfortunately in my career I do have to submit arrest warrants and have people serviced, and it's a criminal charge. That doesn't speed up the process. Typically, actually, that slows it down. The most recent one that comes to mind with me, there was 13 court appearances before the judge ordered them to do what I had ordered them a year and a half earlier to do. So it's a little different than on the crime shows where somebody commits a robbery or burglary or a homicide and they're trying to prove. If you've gotten to the level of an arrest warrant being issued for you, you've already checked a lot of boxes, but you're due your due process under the 14th Amendment. You get to go to court, but eventually the judge is going to look at it and say, we need a time frame, you need to move forward. So, and then simply what happens often is the property is sold out in the meantime, and it doesn't relieve them of the criminal violation, but they no longer make the property safe. And at the end of the day, I don't care about punishment or retribution. I just want that property safe so our residents can live there safely.
Any other questions? Thank you, Tim.
Thank you. I know I threw a lot at you, but please don't hesitate to reach out to me. You all know how to get hold of me.
Thanks.
Great, thank you. I know you guys hit me with 3 things to add to the agenda, but I like just to get through to our agenda before we hit the ones you guys hit me with. How's that? So item number 7, discussion with the ordinance subcommittee and possible action on the senior citizen tax incentive. So majority of all of us were in that room at that point in time, listening to everything. I believe that we could follow under 1281-00 regulation. I think with the subcommittee meeting on November 5th again and going over it, working with our attorney, we'll have more information for that meeting, and then we can report back to this committee again on November 5th. Everybody agree with that? Number 8, discussion and possible action regarding the blight issue at 11 William Lane. We have John McKenzie here, who is our blight enforcement officer. We had asked you, John, the board had asked you if you can go back and get us some more follow-up information, and everybody received it in their packet.
Correct.
May
So,
I,
as
John,
yes.
John, if I may, just for a moment, Madam First Selectwoman, I would also note, representing the property owner, Attorney Ian Cole is here from the,
Hello.
in the back. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. So as asked, I went back and double-checked and triple-checked my information through public municipal search, public record, public court record, our own tax collector's office and tax assessor's office, confirming that the property owner's P.O. box and additional Derby dress was 100% correct.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
I don't know if anyone has any questions. As a courtesy, I also offered a more detailed timeline as part of the memo to show that the service of the blight letters were followed per the ordinance.
Thank you. So as this board has this information in their packet, they have all the information. Any other questions of John? And what is the board's pleasure?
Well, since that, we've now established that Ms. Perez had proper legal notice, which was something we wanted to be sure of at the last meeting, and all the multi-step enforcement procedures were followed to legally serve the property owner. I would make a motion to have the outstanding fine for the first offense and second offense be upheld by our board, and the blight enforcement officer recommends that payment for both be made within 30 days of the decision. There's a motion pending.
I'll second that motion.
Motion by Al, second by Bob. Attorney? Discussion?
I mean, right now, I would support that because it's interesting that the certified letters were returned, except the regular first-class mail was, I mean, I can't believe all of it is a mistake. I mean, it says all of the regular first-class mail was not returned, so somebody got something.
Attorney Bertone?
The only thing I would like to say is, perhaps before the board votes, Attorney Cole is here to represent the property owner. Perhaps we should let Attorney Cole address the board.
Agreed.
Yes, agreed.
Thank you.
We have a motion.
Yeah, how does that work? Just
Pull back the motion.
as part of
No,
discussion?
no, you can.
No,
you-
that's part of
you can-
discussion.
you
It's
can
part of
vote
discussion.
forward on this.
Discussion.
Okay, part of discussion.
Good evening, board members. I'm Attorney Ian Cole, and I represent Ms. Perez. She came to me last Friday. I took a look at a few things, and then I went yesterday morning to speak to John.
and he was very helpful. He showed me his entire file. Yesterday he sent me a PDF of everything that's in his file, and I've looked at all the things, and I've looked at the work he's done to try and confirm those addresses. And I'm not contesting that, really. He did everything that he could, and above board, to try and make sure that she got notices. I think he even had an email address. She has several addresses. Her driver's license is, I think, on Silms or Selma Street, which is another address, okay? So I'm not really contesting that at all. John did his job, but she filed an application for you to consider abating or reducing the fine, and that's what I'm here to address, this particular situation. If I can address you about that. That's what we're here, and there's a provision in your regulations that says that you have discretion to whether to determine to abate the fines or reduce them and stuff, and that's what I'm asking you to do here under the circumstances here. The first fine was for firewood that was stacked in front of her property. I don't know if you know this, but the foundation was put in 2 years ago. The trees were cut and the wood was stacked in the front, and they for neighbors to take for firewood and all that. And the first citation began with a notice or warning letter. It was January 8th of 2024, and it only related to this stack of firewood. Some of it was neatly stacked, some of it was piled of smaller pieces. They hadn't been cut up yet, but several pieces were cut in firewood lengths of about 18 inches, but they hadn't been split or anything like that. And so that was a violation. Now, John also explained to me, because you changed your ordinance now. As of, I think, August, the ordinance was changed. There are a few things that are saying. There are a bunch of things that were also changed in there, but John's indicated to me that he applied during this whole process the old ordinance. And the real issue, I think, with that original citation was that it was not the firewood, the stacking of the firewood, but in the letter John indicated it was the fact that it was actually in the public right of way, and there's a sidewalk there. I don't think it's ever used. John has some pictures of in February, and the thing is completely covered with snow. Nobody's there. And my client, I don't know if she indicated to you last time, her son is in the military, was in Germany, and was injured, and so she was there from January, I think, to late February, and she wasn't, really cognizant of this or focused on this. But when she came back, and the photos that John has on there, you have in your file, indicate that in late February, at least the stuff that had been cut up, the smaller pieces, that had been taken away. And I don't know if you've seen have you seen the pictures? If not, I can show you pictures. But as of late February, what was left were about 10 pieces of firewood that were sticking up, 18 inches. Some of it still on the sidewalk. What John indicated to me is the stacking was okay, but it was in the public right of way, and he wanted to move about 10 feet back behind the fence. So what's interesting here, and my research here, is you have a blighted ordinance, and it says $100 a day fine. And John has no discretion to change that. It's $100 a day, whether it's 2 pieces of firewood, or about 15 different violations. It's the same thing. And that's why it's important that you have discretion to take a look at what the violations are, how serious they are, and in your discretion, decide whether to reduce them or eliminate them. That's why we're here. So, and then by the end, I think it was, April 1st or April 2nd, April 1st it was, that firewood was gone, and so that's why he has 47 days for the violations. Now, there was no response from my client on stuff. This went to Karen Fisher, who held a hearing where nobody appeared, and she entered a judgment for, initially was $18,000. No, that was an error, so that was changed to $4,700. That was caught pretty quickly. And so that's where it's stopped. So this violation was for some firewood, a small amount of firewood, and I would just ask you, in your discretion, would you consider please reducing that fine, because she really became face to face with this issue when in August her contractor went to renew a building permit. so he could start constructing on this foundation. It's been there for 2 years, and he was told by John and the building inspector that you got some problems here, you know, you got this blight and stuff. And apparently John told me also there's an issue, you gotta get approval from the health district, which apparently, I don't know how she got the building permit, but there's an issue there, so she has to get that done too. The plain fact is she doesn't have much money. She can't go to the bank to get a mortgage, which she intended to do, and get this building finally going and constructed and finished. And she's pleading for some relief from these fines in your discretion. So she can get this house built. Now, from a layman's point of view, I look at all the pictures that John's had, you know, so these plywood and stuff. The eyesore, from my perspective, is this big foundation with a deck on it, just sitting there unfinished. Unfortunately, I think from your point of view, your regulations don't cover that. And John didn't try to, you know, issue a bike lien because of that. But really, I mean, that's the eyesore here. That's, you know, the other stuff, grass that's a little bit high. Actually, this regulation says 12 inches. Your new regulation says up to 18 inches you can have. But this one is 12 inches. So the grass was, well, that was a later citation, starting in July stuff. So I'm just asking your discretion to see if you can lessen that fine considerably of the $4,700 if you could. The other one was well, John has pictures from early July of about what he found to be additional violations, and they were basically said garbage and trash, which is not contained. I'm not exactly sure what the pictures show, or grasses or weeds that are more than 12 inches high. As I say, your regulation now says 18 inches. And 2 or more abandoned or unregistered vehicles on the premises. And if you've seen the pictures, she bought a truck and a trailer, and that's parked on the premises way in the back, beginning, I think it was in July. And John considers that 2 motor vehicles. And you can have, it's considered blight if you have 2 or more unregistered vehicles. Well, it wasn't registered, it was an operable truck, and it had the trailer. And your regulations don't define what a motor vehicle is, but John, so it's a matter of interpretation, whether the trailer and the truck constitutes 2 vehicles, therefore there's a violation, or whether it's just the truck is the violation. Well, it's not a violation if you consider just the truck and not the trailer motor vehicle, then she complies with the blight regulation. I just throw that out just for your consideration about whether or not to consider moving that fine. That fine, the second fine, starting in, I think it was July, or it was August, I think it was actually started, was originally $1,300, but John informed me tonight that it's actually now $3,500. All the violations were corrected by September 25th. And I just spoke to John tonight. The truck is still there. Sorry. The trailer is still there, but because the truck was removed, then he considers the trailer 1 motor vehicle, and therefore not a violation. So just to throw that out for you. By 9:03, John's pictures show that the grass, at least in the public right-of-way, has been mowed. By 9:16, most of the grass in the whole property had been mowed. John indicates that the fine ran to September 25th. So I believe, both of these violations, the firewood and that these relatively minor violations in the summer are minor. Again, I said that the unfinished foundation, I really want to try and get that done, and she needs some relief from you to be able to get that done. As I say, your regulation says $100 a day fine, and it's up to you now at this stage to consider whether or not that's too high a fine, depending on the type of violations. You can have 50 violations, it's going to be $100 a day, very major violations. Or you can have the firewood, 10 pieces of firewood, and it's still $100 a day. So it's really up to you to decide whether or not to make some adjustment. She'd like to get this house going, that's why her contractor was in there, and that's what you run into this terrible problem, and any relief you can give us, I appreciate it.
Questions? Trish?
If I may, I'm a very empathetic person, and I can appreciate everything that you're saying. I'm going to tell you where I'm having some issues, just to clarify some things. the sidewalk that no one was using because there's snow on it, fair, but it is property. I live in a house that has a sidewalk. It's my job to keep it clean.
Yeah.
That's my responsibility. It's not the town's. So, I mean, I'd be willing to talk and discuss the grass length since the ordinance has been changed. But the other items, she owns the property. Whether she's living there or not is not my concern because it's her job to maintain the property, and she has, in all fairness, we want to be good neighbors in this town. It is not fair, just because she's not there or she doesn't care, to put her trailer and truck, a truck that's unregistered, just to sit on the property for the neighbors to not enjoy. I don't appreciate that, because we do get complaints in the town that we are not doing enough for people who are taking care of their property. And we totally understand. I'm the first one to say, and anyone who knows me knows, we're not in the job of like taking homes back. I mean, this is not what we want to be doing. But the reason there's a $100 daily fine is so that when we send mail that you've got a blight issue we need to talk about, they're going to work with the property owner, but you have to reply. And that's the incentive to reply. You don't want to be charged $100 a day because you're already owing over $1,000 if you're not compliant within 2 weeks. So, I mean, there is a reason the fine is high.
Oh, it's much higher now when you're in new regulations.
And we have sat and discussed with the department. They go to great lengths to first work with people, but they first have to reach them. And that's where I think all of us on this board are starting to struggle a little bit, because again, I can see that certified mail was returned, but somebody got the first class mail. And you'll see it wasn't just sent once or twice. The regular first class mail seemed to not get returned to sender every single time it was sent. I take issue with that because now that's telling me the property owner is deliberately avoiding having this discussion. So I'm struggling with some of this. And again, the only thing that I'm hearing that I'd be willing to discuss maybe a reduction on is the grass, the length of the grass, because we have changed it. But in fairness to all our residents who are taking care of their properties to the best of their abilities and wanting to live in a neighborhood where others are doing the same, right? There's things I'm willing to discuss and reduce, such as the grass, but there has to be a really good reason that we're just looking to, in my head, to look at what the fine and helping her out. And while she wants to get going and building the property, that hasn't happened yet.
Yeah.
So what's the guarantee? What's the length of time? When is this going to be built? I mean, I appreciate everyone's struggling right now too, but
Her builder
there's no
came in.
guarantee this is going to happen anytime soon. So
I mean,
that's my 2 cents. I'm
it was her
sorry.
intent.
Thank you.
That's why her contractor went to pull a new building permit, and that's when this all came to light. And your regulation allows an unregistered vehicle even today on the properties, so it's just, once you get 2, that's a blight violation.
Right. Well, there was 2.
Well, there was the trailer and the
Right.
Registered
It's
vehicle.
a-
It's a
registered-
trailer's
Yeah.
a registered vehicle.
Yeah, the trailer has to be registered. It's not just a freestanding item that you keep on the property. It has to be
Yeah.
registered so it qualifies.
totally a matter of interpretation by John and obviously you too. So we're just asking you if you can give us any relief. She clearly intended to get this thing going again after that foundation in the city for 2 years.
Well, I mean, that's
It
my 2
started
cents,
in
but I'd
January
be,
and it's now, what month?
No, it
Started in January and what month are
And
we in?
by April 1st, the firewood thing had been taken care of.
Forget about the,
Yeah.
we're all
Oh,
in,
the whole thing?
all in. What
Okay.
month are we in?
We're now, look, this is October, but September 25th, as John said.
This is an accommodating board
Yeah.
that if it was addressed initially, we probably would have been sitting here working out something.
Yeah.
But I can't see it at this point. I
Al?
mean, I'm not gonna
I'm sorry.
talk for
Yeah.
everyone, but from
No.
my vantage point.
Sure.
Go ahead.
My question, Counselor, is
Yes.
what is your ask? What is What is your
I'm
client
leaving that
seeking
to
for a
your
reduction?
discretion, just whatever you can do, which you think is fair and equitable under
Right.
this search. I don't even want to
Be-
do that.
Because I'm confused as to how long the foundation's been in place and whether the finances have been secured to even build a home at this point.
Well,
Because if we're looking for a
She was-
reduction in the
yeah.
blight and houses are so very expensive to build,
Yeah.
I get it. But, with
She
all the
needs to-
things I've heard my colleagues discuss, I have serious issues with a reduction right now.
she doesn't have a mortgage now, and but she can't
Yeah.
apply for the mortgage, which she planned to do to the
Yeah.
bank, until this
Yeah.
issue is corrected.
Yeah.
So, I know you're concerned that, if you grant any relief, that maybe nothing will happen, but under the circumstances, I don't think, that, she was suggested to go to a lawyer and stuff, and she came to me, and, I could have refused the case, and I thought she had some merit to try and get some reduction, so she can get this eyesore that's there now, not the issues that we were talking about or anybody, this freaking foundation. It's got a deck on it, apparently that was covered with plastic, but, that's, it's framing, basically to get the house up, and, she needs a mortgage to continue, so that's all I can say. As again, I'm not criticizing John at all. He did a good job,
Right, correct.
Right,
He
right.
did an excellent job. He's
Yeah.
been extremely patient
Yeah.
and
he tries to help
forthright
people
with our
and stuff,
board.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I agree that sometimes I've been involved in cases where the fines have gone to $250,000 or so. I mean, not for the defendant or so, but there's the case in Ansonia. It was a blight lien judicial sale, and it was because they went up $250,000. There was a title issue, so the owner just left.
Yep.
But the bank even gave up. They threw in the towel and withdrew the foreclosure. and did
No,
penny for
we
penny.
understand it's not.
Yeah.
We understand. Fred?
The firewood issue does not really concern me, so I would grant some relief with regard to the firewood. It's not like it's junk, metal or furniture that's been tossed out, or barrels. I would propose that we give some relief with regard to the firewood issue.
Like, what are you thinking of? What number, Fred?
I mean, there was a violation. I'd suggest $2,500 reduction.
Any questions that go to the town?
No, I'm asking my board, please. Teresa?
I liked a lot of the points that Trish just made, about the certified letters, and then when it was first class, it was not returned. Because my initial thought was, okay, it was February 28th, delivery confirmation, maybe we should go from that date for the first offense. And I'm gonna just chime in, I was on the board way back when with Karen about firewood, and I remember sitting on the ordinance committee with Karen discussing firewood. That was a big issue for her, where it should be neatly stacked. Those are pretty big logs, if I recall from the pictures that we saw. They weren't
Yeah,
just
they weren't
some
just-
firewood.
Right.
It was,
That's what it's,
right.
yeah.
So I would entertain maybe going to the February 28th date, but outside of that, I don't think we need to go back from the ordinance change for the height of the grass from the 12 to 16 inches. I don't think we can go back retroactively because it was in place at that time. And then my concerns going forward now is when you just said about the snow on the sidewalk, that could be another fine. I mean, that is the responsibility of homeowners in this town, that you have to have that shoveled within 24 hours. So it gives me some pause to say, is this gonna be an empty lot and an absentee, owner that we're gonna still have more problems going down the road with? So I would lean towards just doing the February 28th date, and outside of that.
Scott?
Honestly, I'm not in favor of reducing it all. We were told one thing in the meeting with regard to the addresses, and it created a lot more work for John, and it turns out that we had the correct addresses. It wasn't until her contractor came to town hall, or to the building department to get a building permit, that she even took any action whatsoever. So how much longer would this have gone on if she had not had her contractor come in? I don't want to be a hard line on this, but, things were misrepresented to us. And, I think that somebody should have taken action much sooner, especially with the letters that were not returned. Somebody got them, somebody must have opened them. So I'm not in favor of reduction, but I'm only one vote.
Okay, so is there a motion on the table
There is.
There is.
from Fred?
No.
Right? No, from Scott,
me.
from you,
From me.
sorry,
And then I think Scott second.
No, Bob did.
Rob did, okay?
And what was the motion?
You remind me, because we just talked a whole bunch.
The motion was to go with the recommendation of John McKenzie for the first and second offense be upheld by the Board of Selectmen and have it paid within full within 30 days of the decision. That was my motion.
So the total, if my addition is correct, is $8,200
Yes.
for both?
Yes.
8,000, so, all right, all in favor?
Aye.
Oppose?
I'm opposed.
Opposed. I'm sorry.
You have to be sorry.
What are you sorry for?
Did you vote?
Yeah,
Bob?
that's true.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
vote?
Chair oppose. I oppose.
So it's
So was the
4 to
Two.
3.
4 to 3.
Okay.
All right,
Scott was a yes.
Yes.
No.
no.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
Great.
Number 9, discussion of possible action regarding the use of LoSiP fund. A is a guardrail installation at the Seymour Community Center. This is on the state bid list, so it does not have to go out to bid. I would ask, so that's on there, and then the second one is for the handicap doors at the Seymour Community Center. Seymour Community Center, it's the handicap bathroom, which is wide enough for the chair to get in, but the chair is just too heavy. The door is just too heavy to pull open, so they want to be able to push a push button to go in there. We have a quote from Calvert Safe and Lock, but we want to go out for two more quotes. So we'll take the first one for the guardrail installation at the Seymour Community Center. They're on the state bid list. It's Atlas Industrial Services. It's for $20,450. Can I have a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Al,
Second.
second by Scott. Discussion.
Where's the guardrail going?
So the guardrail it's an L shape, so it's going down by Randall Field, across that way, and down along the river. And that guardrail has to be a specific height and of a specific material.
It's a wooden one right now.
Correct.
What will be in its place?
This one looks like to be
Will it be
a metal
metal?
one. All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Chair votes aye, motion carries. Okay, the next one is for the handicap doors at the Seymour Community Center. I'd like to get 2 more quotes on this because we only have one in from Calvert Safe and Lock. That's it, but I'd like to, well, as I said, get 2 more, but put in there, make a vote on not to exceed $20,000. This way and then just to get it done, because this needs to get done.
I'll make a motion to go out again for the handicap doors at the Seymour Community Center, not to exceed $20,000.
Motion by Trish,
Second.
second by Al, discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Noes? Abstention? Chair votes aye, motion carries. Great, okay. So now the 3 things you guys threw at me. Okay. What was the first one? The first one was
Tax incentive plan.
the tax incentive plan, Tricia. Nope, that was
No,
Bob
I
Finley's.
did not.
Bob
Well, no,
Finley.
I wasn't at the meeting, and there was something that was mentioned about, tax incentives to residential locations, and I thought when we put that together, it was meant for any large, there was no really stipulation on whether it was residential or commercial, or, if I remember right.
There wasn't a stipulation, it's just stated what the tax incentive.
Because that's what I couldn't, that's what I
I'm
wanted
sorry.
to discuss, like, I didn't understand why.
No, we can't exclude, well, I wasn't here at that meeting either, so maybe you want to give an update, Anne Marie,
So in that meeting.
before I make my comments.
I'm trying to go through the meeting. In the meeting, we talked about the tax incentive plan and how it really didn't call out residential in the plan itself. It called out, commercial, it called out, in the purpose it did, it pretty much said waterfront property and the commercial industrial place. Commerce Industrial Park, it called out for there, but it never really said residential, and it didn't clearly say residential X amount, 5-family, 10-family apartments, which got us speaking about, what should go in there or not.
Okay, well, I didn't know that it had to be called out, but in my head, the way I interpreted it, and maybe this is
it
what you're
open,
thinking, is
yeah.
that it's open. I was on that committee.
Yeah, that's what I remember.
It's,
not on
you weren't, so it was left open. I would say, obviously, not gonna be for a single-family home,
Obviously.
or maybe even a two-family home, but there's condo developments, there's large apartment complexes that go in, and those certainly can cost a builder a bit of money, and while I understand we need more businesses to offset taxes, we also need more people to help offset some taxes. So I think it was, in my head, it was open to a larger development.
Yeah, and they need places to live, so that's
Yeah,
kind of,
we keep talking about residences too. So was everyone else's interpretation it was just supposed to be businesses?
I think it was pretty clear in our policy, the places that it could be used for. I don't have the policy because this wasn't on our agenda, so I didn't bring
yeah.
it.
Yeah, I don't have
No,
one either.
I just
Mine,
looked it
yeah.
up, yeah.
Maybe put this on to our next agenda and we could be more prepared for it, but the tax incentive policy clearly did not have in apartments. So that's why on our tax incentive policy committee beforehand, we had asked, and it's in the minutes there, that we asked for more information about what other towns were doing, so we had some guidelines of what we wanted to do.
Yeah.
But it was clearly not in the tax policy.
Yeah, but I think that's more the point. I don't think we put in there for that purpose. So if we did have the opportunity for something that was larger, or we could apply it.
Yeah, I think that's given an awful lot of leeway for anything, though.
But that's why the
we
board,
wanted-
but that's why the board votes on it. That was the whole
Right, and
point,
that's why I
you
think
know?
we have the tax incentive policy committee working on these things now, so we can get the information and, come up with better guidelines.
Yeah, because, I mean, to your point, that we do need to include it, because there are large-scale projects, and they need to be included.
Right, and that's what we're
So,
trying to see what other
shame on me
towns
for not
have.
thinking of that,
You know, I
but,
mean, I know, just from a brief overview that I've been doing, it's usually more for the affordable housing that they're doing these for the apartment buildings.
Right,
And not just for apartments.
correct.
So, I mean, I think we need to really do some more due diligence on this and get the information before we can make a decision.
That's fair.
I think that's fair too.
okay.
All right.
Sorry, I'm like, I just wasn't thinking it was,
We'll have another
just
meeting
wasn't,
with
yeah.
you. You can be
The
there
things
next
you don't
meeting.
think of when you're sitting here
Yeah.
sometimes.
It was just actually Anne Marie and myself that were at that meeting for our last one, so.
Okay, yeah, I was at work.
I know, it was a Wednesday, I know.
It was a Wednesday. Wednesdays are not good for me.
All right. Number 2 was the
Sports Hall of Fame, was that?
Sports Hall of Fame.
Yes, thank you.
You're welcome.
I would like to make a motion that this board pass a resolution congratulating and honoring the inductees into the Seymour High School Sports Hall of Fame this Sunday, as well as recognizing the 3 coaches who are going to be honored.
Motion by Fred,
Second.
second by Trish. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Chair votes aye, motion carries 7-0. Okay, and number 3, Scott, that would have to be yours.
Yeah, so at our last meeting, when we were discussing the tree removal stuff and the use of LoSiP funds, I was asked to see about getting a plan from Public Works since I sit on that board. Excuse me. We had a meeting last night, and I brought it up, and just going back a little bit, the trees that were in question were taken down by Eversource and Lewis Tree. Following our meeting, the Eversource rep was in touch with our Public Works director, and they had a conversation. And because of the relationship between Frank and our Eversource rep, Eversource decided that they were going to come into town and take down the trees so that they didn't have to worry about any of their wires or anything. So kudos to them for working through that and getting that done for us. With regard to using the LoSiP money, in discussions with Frank with regard to the budget that the Public Works has, they've been cut in a number of different areas, and the use of LoSiP funds helps them to be able to do a lot more with the funds that they're budgeted for than what they would have to utilize. They have $68,000 left in their tree line item, and if they were to use 38 of that, he said that that would cut them back to not being able to take care of everything that they need to take care of with regard to the trees. They don't really do a strategic long-term plan for tree cutting unless they find areas that need to have trees either cut back, trimmed, or taken down. He said once those are identified, and they're out regularly driving the streets looking for any hazards, not just trees, but any hazards that the town may encounter, and taking care of things as they go along. So I think that his explanations were very reasonable. I don't think that it would have been inappropriate for us to use LoSiP funds. But you know, he put together that list along with the pricing, and he indicated to me that he had gone out and called a couple of different contractors, and only one contractor got back to him with pricing. And that was the one that we were presented with. So there wasn't anything, I don't believe, untoward that was going on in trying to get this stuff taken care of, but they were just trying to make things safe for the residents of the town.
Can I just ask, what's Eversource's responsibility with these trees? Don't they have a maintenance and responsibilities for the ones over wires and things that?
So
I'm
Eversource,
throwing it out there. I know everybody's looking at me.
No,
nodding
no.
a little bit, but.
no, Eversource does have a tree plan put in place that they've been working on past four or 5 years that they've been working on. And they've been working and letting us know when they're coming into town and what area they're working on. So Eversource does have a tree plan put in place to cut along their lines, along their lines that run through the woods to their transformers and substations. So they do have a plan in place that they're working with our guys, but they're working in certain areas throughout the community. I did check with D, and LoSiP awarded hazardous trees as an acceptable expense since 2020, and to date, the town has been awarded $184,877.50. And since we're on that, you know, Frank Gabinelli, we had Kurt go and speak to Frank and to Sean about that. So in your packet in correspondence, there was a letter sent to everybody, and as well as a letter from Frank, and it was in correspondence, but I guess since we're talking about it, I'll read it into the record. It says, the email from Kurt says, "Good afternoon, everyone. On Thursday morning, I met with Frank Gabinelli to review the tree removal quote presented at Wednesday night's meetings. Frank explained that due to the concerns he and Sean had about the trees in question, they reached out to several of the tree service companies the town regularly works with to obtain quotes. Among those contacted was Mr. Alterio's company, which makes his comments at the Board of Select meeting somewhat unclear, especially since he chose not to provide the quote. I want to emphasize that both Frank and Sean take their responsibility very seriously, and I have full confidence in the professionalism in which they represent the town of Seymour. Additionally, Frank contacted his Eversource liaison, Mike Isepi, if I said that wrong, I apologize, who's together with Lewis Trees will be sending a crew to Seymour to handle the trees discussed at the meeting, as well as others identified for maintenance. This work will be done at no cost to the town. This outcome reflects the strong working relationship Frank and Sean have built with Eversource and Lewis Trees, which directly benefits our residents and taxpayers. All documentation will be included in the meeting pack for the October 21st, but I want everyone to be aware in advance. If residents inquire about the ongoing tree work, please direct them to contact me so I can contact them with the appropriate representative at Eversource. As always, if you have any questions, please let me know. Thank you, Kurt. Then I was sent a letter from Public Works from Frank Gabinelli dated 10/9/2025. Good morning, Kurt. After watching what transpired at the 10/8/2025 Select Persons meeting, and with the threat of inclement weather in the near future, I reached out to our Eversource representative, Matt Isepi, and he agreed to send us a tree crew for the next 2 weeks to remove a list of trees starting on 10/9/2025 at no cost to the town. We thankfully have a great working relationship with Eversource. I would also like to set the record straight that Mr. Altieri under public comment was not being truthful. He was in fact asked to give a quote on the LoSiP project and refused. I found his comment to be offensive, false, and a personal attack on both Sean's and my character. As requested, we provided a list of trees and a quote, and we just did that. I can't speak to that because I wasn't in the reading. All I wanted to know is to let everybody know what was said. We did speak to Frank, and we did speak to Sean, and we did tell everybody that if you're going out to a job, you have to go out to bid. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. You have to go out to bid. What they're going to do and what we're going to do is they're going to work on putting an RFQ together, request for quotes. And in that, they're going to list all our tree vendors that we can use for emergency work as regular work. And everybody will have the right to quote on that. And then between there, they can pick and choose those as our vendors. Sean, did you have anything else, Scott?
No, I will say that the pile of wood that the Lewis Tree, it is sitting down at Public Works behind the salt shed, and it's probably 30 feet high and, I don't know, twice that long. It's incredible the amount of tree work that they did in that 2-week period.
It's at Public Works?
It is. They brought a chipper in. They're gonna chip it, the whole pile, I guess. But it's an incredibly huge pile.
That's that. Okay. There are no transfers, and that was it. Okay. There's no transfers, there's no appointments, tax refunds and abatements. In your packet is a tax refunds and abatements from Christina. Please look over.
I make a motion to approve as presented.
Motion by Trish,
Second.
second by Al. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion. Chair votes aye, motion carries. Thank you. Correspondences, I read you those. We have a letter in our file for 36 Emmer Street from the Planning and Zoning Enforcement Officer, Director of Land Use, on Thursday, October 9, 2025, at the Planning and Zoning Commission regular meeting. The commission voted unanimously to give a positive referral to the Board of Select Persons for potential sale of the property located at 36 Emmer Street. So that's in there for correspondence. Number 14, public comment.
Deborah Alterio Tractor Pulling LLC, 63 Tibbetts Road, Seymour, Connecticut. I am the agent of service. I am going to pull my son's telephone records. Nowhere was that ever. There was never a phone call to him to bid that work. You know, you don't care. Just give him an opportunity. Do you realize in the last 2 years, $3,412.22 that man made this town? Okay? and you cannot give him the opportunity to bid work? I've been to you. Matthew's been to you, Anne Marie, several times, sat in your office. Give us your insurance. We provide the insurance. You give a little tree job, you give a little this, and you use the same ones all the time. And I really take offense to what I just heard, that he lied. Because Matthew has an impeccable reputation with municipalities. I'm pulling his records tomorrow, and we're gonna see who's lying.
Any other public comment?
I'm not done.
Oh, sorry.
I'm not done. Why is it that it's all the time everybody else's fault? Enough is enough. Enough. You're supposed to be putting work out to bid, and you're not doing it. You could take the work and oh great, $10,000 or what is it, $25,000? Well, you know how we're gonna get around that? We're gonna cut it up in 3 different sections. You don't even know if you got the best deal. You don't know, because it's favoritism. It's favoritism, plain and simple. And for Frank to say, I have a great relationship, I put it out 4 days beforehand on Facebook. Do you realize that Eversource is responsible for the wires and the trees? I know you stalk my Facebook. I've heard it. Okay? I know. I put it out on the town page on purpose so that you could see it. Thank you.
No, she's done. Okay. Public comment? No other public comment? Then the motion is, meeting's adjourned.
No, selectmen's
Oh,
comments.
selectmen's comment. Sorry. Teresa.
Okay. So we have a few things coming up, but I'm sure you're gonna address them all, trunk or treat, downtown trick or treat and
Yep.
all that.
Yep.
Historical Society, don't forget about them. And the Hall of Fame that, just wanna see if we can, address the parking though for Election Day down at Community Center. Both Fungi and the Community Center are gonna be there, and I know when we just had the school vote, it was hopping down there.
There's not going to be any events happening down there, from what I understand.
All right, because I know, it was an issue for a lot of people. And, what else here? I know you said under your state of the town address about the, water park coming to town. How is that gonna, splash pad, how is that gonna work? You said
What do
it's
you mean,
gonna
how's-
happen next summer?
It's going to be a donation, probably coming in the springtime.
So do we get that donation beforehand, like the board goes through that?
It doesn't go in front of the board.
Doesn't, donations don't go in front of?
Board of Education only.
It's gonna be at the Board of Education?
No. Donations go in front of the Board of Education. Donations do not come in front of the Board of Select Persons.
So we're planning on having this where?
It's being looked at the community center, to be in the back.
All right, that's all I have. Thank you.
Is it? Okay, thank you. Fred?
I would like to speak to the referendum of last week, 2 weeks ago, but I understand you're going to make some comments. Do you want me to talk at that time? About the
Go ahead.
referendum? Okay. October 9th was a big victory for the children of Seymour with the passage of the Bungay School, passage of the referendum vote for the new Bungay School. Yes vote was 1744, no vote was 391. Total of 2,135 people voted, 82% voted yes. And I would like to, as co-chairman of the Bungay Elementary School Building Committee, thank several people and groups, First Selectwoman Anne Marie Dragonis and the Board of Select Persons for initiating this project after much discussion over the years. The Board of Finance members, Kurt Miller, who was great with regard to the bonding, getting us on the right track, Dr. Compton and Shannon Levy, Administrative Assistant at the Board of Education, have been working with us. It's interesting, this Department of Administrative Services will only accept submissions for the reimbursement grant through the superintendent's office. It's sort of a strange system that they have. I'd like to thank our architect, Anthony Associates. The Bungay School Rebuild Alliance did a terrific job, just outstanding in getting the vote out. And finally, I'd like to thank the building committee, Bungay Elementary School Building Committee, an outstanding group of dedicated individuals that I've had the privilege of working with. So, and thank you, everybody in Seymour, for passing this referendum. We now move ahead. I would like to discuss at some point the schedule in the next meeting of what the committee is planning for the future. School, if everything goes well, would open the fall of 2028. I would also like to mention that Griffin Hospital has just completed an impact unit, emergency psychiatric assessment treatment healing unit. It's the first one of its kind in Connecticut. Other states have these types of units in the hospitals. This is to treat and deal with people with behavioral and psychiatric issues that come into the emergency room. And rather than these people taking up space in the emergency room and acting out if they're having a problem, they are brought into the empath unit, which is a very soothing, sensory type of atmosphere. These are not people who need to be long-term psychiatric patients, but people who need to calm down and someone to counsel them for some time. And it's a great attribute for the great resource for the community. And it will help clear up some of the congestion in the ED. That's all. Thank you.
Al?
Yeah, I'm sure you're gonna discuss all the great events for children this weekend, so I'll let you talk about that. So I don't have anything else other than echoing Fred's comments about the vote, the referendum vote. Very excited for the town and our whole community with that. I'm also looking forward to hearing further discussion about giving seniors tax breaks. You know, we're one big community. We can do things for everybody, not just pockets and groups. So, thanks.
Trish?
Congratulations to Fred and Karen, obviously. Halloween's coming up. We've got, I like to say trick or trunk. I know that's not right. Trunk or treat, right? Or was it trick or trunk? Trick or trunk? Okay. I never know what to say, trick or trunk or trunk or treat. Okay. So whatever, we've got to be really careful. The kids are going to be running around excited. It's a good time of year. I want to thank the Lions Club for coming. That is such a close cause to my heart. My sister is, she lost her sight when she was 42, and she's completely blind. So the work that they do is amazing, especially for, low-income people who are in such need without the resources to get the care they need for their eyes. Bungay School, very excited that passed. I want to, while there's a lot of people to thank, I really want to thank the community. You heard me speak earlier about the senior citizens, and we need to support our kids, and just such a great initiative. I'm so proud of our town for having always supported our kids and the need for having a good school system to focus their education on, and super excited about that to come. One thing, I started scribbling this down because as soon as we ended talking about the tax abatement, I thought of something I just wanted to mention. One of the and just for consideration as we continue to look at this, one of the reasons it's super important to include these big buildings that are condos or apartment complexes where people are living is because while we're very focused on bringing businesses to town and giving businesses abatements, I'm not going to mention names, although I think everyone's going to know who I'm talking about. I don't, we give tax abatements to businesses, and we've historically given tax abatements to a business in town that makes a lot of promises, and we never see any positive movement forward. So I think we do need to have that discretion with who we're giving the abatements to, and in my head, again, I was kind of including all large projects in that, but to Teresa's point, I guess it won't hurt, and it's very good to kind of like get specific and make sure that that's spelled out there so there is no confusion in the future. But we also need to have discretion to say no when it doesn't make sense, whether it's the project or the history of a property. So that's what I wanted to say. That's all from me.
Bob?
Yeah, so I wanted to, I'm great that we got the school vote in. I think that was fantastic. I wanted to thank Fred for all his efforts to get it kickstarted. Really, everybody that you mentioned was key, but your efforts to get it kickstarted was really what started the ball rolling, so I really appreciate everything you did. And I thought that the Rebuild School Committee, the communication that came out of that group was far beyond a lot of the communication we do in town. And I thought they did a tremendous job at getting that information out, factual information out to people, getting them into the school, letting them see it before the vote. I thought all that effort was tremendous, and so I kind of, that was the one thing that stuck out in my head. What a great job they did to get it out there. So.
Yeah, I was gonna say the same thing that Bob just said. That group just did a tremendous job at educating our residents as to why we needed a school, and they did a phenomenal job. They convinced my wife, so that takes some doing. And congratulations to Fred for being Grand Marshal. Can't wait to see you at the parade.
Thank you.
Okay, that's mine. Congratulations.
Thank you.
On the Grand Marshal. And to everybody's point, there are a lot of activities happening this weekend. We have the downtown trick or treat with the parade, starting at 1 o'clock to 3 o'clock. Then we have the trick or trunk at the high school from 6 o'clock to 8 o'clock. We have the Historical Society's 50th anniversary happening on Saturday as well. We have the Sports Hall of Fame banquet at 6 o'clock on
I think it's 2 o'clock.
2 o'clock.
I think they changed it this year.
2 o'clock?
Yeah. Sunday afternoon. I know it's normally 6 o'clock.
Yeah, look at that ticket. That's at 6 o'clock. All right, so that's on Sunday at 2 o'clock. And then, just to let everybody know, as Teresa mentioned, there is no voting at Bungay School due to the construction, so everybody's going to be voting at the community center. So the community center is going to have normal District 1, which is a community center, and Bungay School, and then Chatfield School is where people are going to be voting. So it's going to be very busy down there. Then we have early voting, absentee ballot. Let me go with absentee first. Is from 10 October 3rd. Start October 3rd, goes to November 3rd. Early voting is October 20th to 27th from 10 to 6 here at Town Hall in the Norma Drummer Room. October 28th from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. October 29th, 10 a.m. to 6 o'clock p.m. The 30th, 8 to 8, that's 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. The 31st, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. November 1st, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. November 2nd, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. And then voting 11 to 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. to 8 p.m. on November 4th at the community center in Chatfield School. So that's that. Teresa, we did get the numbers for the veterans. I gave those numbers earlier before. Okay. And Bungay School. Fred, you and the Bungay Alliance Committee did a wonderful job in getting that out, so thank you. On that,
Thank you, because it took this board and you, Anne Marie, as first selectwoman, to initiate the assessment committee. That's what started it all.
so on November 5th, what you'll do is there'll be a new charge given to a community to a committee for the building of the new school. What they'll have to do, so there's a new charge that will be given out to them. And we'll do that on November 5th.
You said a new committee?
No, I said a committee.
A committee.
That's what I said.
All right.
All right?
We'll talk about it, I'm sure.
Yes. All right, and that's that. Adjourn.
Thank you.
Tim,